Welcome to Cultivate, the space where we talk about building, growing, and figuring it out as you go. I'm your host, Alex Canavan, and I am so glad you're here with us today. Real quick, subscribing to the show is completely free, and it is one of the simplest ways you can support what we're building here. It helps us land sponsors, and it tells me exactly what kind of content to keep bringing you. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe wherever you're listening. It means more than you know. Now, today's guest. Lisa Marie Newcomb is the founder of Thrive in Healing, co-founder of the Syracuse Yoga Collective, and a Lululemon Ambassador. She's a wellness facilitator, consultant, and yoga instructor dedicated to making wellness more accessible, culturally responsive, and community-centered. Since launching Thrive in Healing in 2019, Lisa has worked across the nonprofit, education, and community sectors to support emotional well-being, burnout prevention, resilience, and healing, bringing healing practices directly into the spaces where people live, work, learn, and gather. She's also the author of the forthcoming book, A Life Imagined, a deeply personal exploration of grief, infertility, caregiving, loss, and reimagining life when it unfolds differently than expected. Lisa is also someone incredibly close to my heart. She was actually one of my very first guests on Cultivate, and this year she became the very first recipient of the CNY Women's Network Inspiring Woman Award. This award was created to honor one woman in Central New York who is unapologetically herself, who uses her voice to inspire change, who leads with courage and vision, and who shows up boldly in spaces where women are often told to shrink. It will now be presented every year at the CNY Women's Summit, and Lisa was the very first woman to receive it. Today, we're talking about alone time, what it actually takes to host meaningful events, how to be a good community member, grief, writing her book, visibility, humility, and what she's leaning into next. We also get into what it felt like for her to receive this award and what she believes it actually means to be an inspiring woman. I think this episode will leave you feeling a little more grounded, a little more honest with yourself, and reminded that healing and being seen don't require permission. All right, let's dive in. Lisa Newcomb, welcome back to Cultivate.
Thank you for having me again. I'm excited to be here.
You were on Cultivate 3 years ago. I think you had to have been like the third episode I released. What has changed in your work since then?
Yeah, a lot has changed since then. Over the past year, I've gone back to work. I'm now back in entrepreneurship full time. I've written a book since then, just making a lot of the dreams that I wanted to come true and like really fully going for it.
Tell us about the business that you're running right now. Like, how are you working with people? What does that look like?
So right now, Thrive in Healing is still strong. Over the past year, it's really just been about consistency. Not a lot has changed in my offerings. It's still yoga, it's still individual coaching, and a lot of consulting with nonprofits, but mainly working with the people that are serving our community. So the people that are serving the youth in nonprofit worlds, the caregivers out there, and really teaching them how to prevent burnout and be well. And I'm also still co-founding the Syracuse Yoga Collective too.
Yeah.
And we're still here at down here 120 East Washington, same place.
I love it. And you're also doing rooftop yoga events at
Yes.
Merchants Commons. Tell me about that. What does that experience look like? I haven't had the chance to experience that yet.
Yeah, those are still going strong. So the history to that actually started probably about 5 years ago, maybe a little longer, with my co-founder, Shaquila, now Sago. She worked for Advanced Media and she started doing some yoga up on the rooftop there. And then we started collabing and doing that. And now over the past few years, it's just grown into something that Syracuse looks forward to every summer. What's beautiful about it is that I'm very intentional about also collaborating with other wellness businesses, vendors, DJs, and it's really about us like just bringing the community together. It's not solely focused on just the movement, but us being able to have a good time. And a lot of people don't even know that there are these rooftops in downtown Syracuse that are accessible to them. so it's been
Yeah.
really nice.
There's really aren't a lot of accessible rooftops in
Yeah.
Syracuse, but the rooftop at Merchants Commons is, as you know, certainly something very special.
Yeah.
I'm currently trying to work with them on planning like a member like barbecue picnic, just
Okay.
little end of summer celebration for our members.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about that. Thank you again for tuning into today's conversation. Before we get into the good stuff, though, I just wanted to let you know that Cultivate is now on Substack. After you subscribe, you'll get weekly episodes sent straight to your inbox, and once a month, a bonus newsletter from me where I share what I'm personally learning and navigating on leadership, community building, mindset, and building a mission-driven business. No highlight reel, no pretending I have it all figured out, just what's true in real time. You can find the link to subscribe in the show notes. I'd love for you to be a part of it. Okay, now back to the conversation. One thing that I love watching you do is show up online, continuing to build community and be a leader in the Syracuse community, but also show up in a way that seems to me like you're just so honest and real and
Mhm.
accepting of yourself, just exactly who you are right now in the moment. And I am, as someone who consumes a lot of wellness content and like fitness content and just like loves her wellness influencers,
Mhm.
I don't see that happening a lot on social media. I'm just seeing a lot of people show up and talk about performance, biohacking, efficiency. Here's how you cut fat for the summer. There's like
Yeah.
so much talk about fat loss, all
Mhm.
these things about like how can we be the best, most fit, most beautiful versions of
Mhm.
ourselves. What is your philosophy when it comes to how you show up online as a leader in the wellness space?
Mhm. Wellness and beauty standards have started to blend a little bit, and it's created a lot of confusion. Being skinny does not mean that you are healthy and well, right? Those are two very different things. You can see a beauty standard and assume that that person is well, and they may not be, right? You can perform great and also go home and feel lonely and depressed and not actually fulfilled in life. So, wellness is what's going on inside here, not just what it looks like on the outside. And for me, that's something that I've had to learn as well. We talked about that before when I was here last time, but my body looks different year to year sometimes. That's just what it's like living with an autoimmune disorder. That's what it's like when sometimes I might be depressed and not taking the best care of myself. People need to see that, and they need to know that they are human beings. That's what wellness is about. It's not an algorithm, it's not a brand. Where I'm actually working with humans here. And so I think that that's what can be missing in the wellness spaces.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How do you integrate wellness into your daily life? Like, what are some of your wellness non negotiables right now?
Alone time.
Oh, I love, girl, I've been talking about this so much.
D&D.
Literally, I
I
I also said I was on the phone with someone yesterday and I am a self-proclaimed queen of D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Alone
Yeah.
time is, I think, the purest form of luxury,
Hmm.
to be quite honest.
It
Like,
is. Yeah.
so alone time, what are you doing in your alone time? How much alone time are you spending each week?
I'm intentional about it. And I like that you said it's a luxury too, right? Because even in caregiving, sometimes I can't have that phone on
Yeah.
D&D, right? There's those select few people that can bypass that D&D that I've got to be able to be accessible for. As a founder, being responsive is very important. So I've had to learn a part of me becoming well and taking care of myself is also starting to build out systems over these last few years. Um, Getting interns, being able to build out systems that can respond to the emails and the texts so that I can spend some time by myself. Intentional alone time looks like if I know that I've got 3 events over the weekend, I'm making sure to plan some time for myself on that Sunday night or whatever day it may be, because it takes a lot of energy. I want to show up as my best self, which requires me to pour out a lot of energy. I'm surrounded by a lot of different energies. And so it looks a little different week to week, but it looks like me actually planning out and knowing what I'm putting out and creating a little time for myself. That doesn't mean a trip. That doesn't always mean a vacation. That's not always accessible to me and to other people, but it might just be, okay, my phone's put up and I'm going to watch my show. I'm going to catch up on my shows. Or it may be yesterday, I took myself out to Southwick Beach. I was like, oh
Nice.
my God, my mind is just going crazy. I'm going to go sit by some water for a little while.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
yeah.
And, you know, we're both in very similar spaces and in similar roles where like it's quite literally our job to bring people together and to be very, very social, to be very accessible, to be showing up and to be very visible. We are connectors. Like that is what we do. And I think I love it. I love the fact that my job is so social and my life is full of so many beautiful people. But what I have found is that it has required me to be diligent about alone time and making
Hmm.
sure that I am very conscious about creating the space and time I need to be alone with my thoughts and to like fully process and to just enjoy my own company. And I've really realized over like the past years just how much I love it and
Yeah.
how much being alone is what fuels me so I can show up and hold space for other people and to be a connector for other people. I've really been thinking about this a lot lately, just about how much I'm enjoying being. I mean, now that I'm um in my own space and I have my own home and like I have really realized how much I'm enjoying this solitude because my definition of a perfect weekend now is quite literally spending the entire weekend alone
Yeah.
and going to Green Lakes and going for a trail run by myself. Like
Hmm.
waking up Sunday, maybe listening to service and like catching up on chores by myself.
Yeah.
And I've been a little hesitant about sharing about this and being honest about how much I'm loving being alone
Hmm.
because I'm like, what if that like upsets people or disappoints people? Because I'm supposed to be talking about how important it is to get together and to be in community. But I realize there's no way you can be a good villager or a good
Mm.
community member if you aren't overflowing with love and service and generosity. And the only way to do that, I think, is like loving your alone time.
Yeah. And actually loving yourself and pouring that into yourself. I think that being not only being comfortable being alone, but actually enjoying it and looking forward to it. What do you do when you're about to hang out with someone that you love or like a close friend? You get excited, right? You love it, you enjoy it, and you're talking about spending time with yourself like that. And I think that that is a reflection of us actually working on ourselves and being okay with our alone time. And not only being okay with it, but noticing that it is a luxury, right? To have your own place and to come home and to, if I want to clean today, cool. If not, it's going to sit right there, right? I don't have to worry about anyone else's energy around me and managing that.
Yeah.
I think that that's just a beautiful thing. And also for us, like women, we get so much propaganda sold to us that like our life is supposed to be full with like children or a partner, and that is what fullness feels like. And so I'm in a season where I'm really embracing my singleness, and there's mixed emotions with anything, the both and of, oh, it would be great some days when I get the baby fever, like like babysit
Yeah.
friends kids and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that would be lovely. And then I'm also like, no, I really enjoy my alone time and I'm trusting where I am right now. If that's meant for me, that will all come later on, right?
Hmm.
But sometimes we're so focused on like having to have some kind of external validation and have our life so full of people that we miss out on a season where we could have looked back and been like, oh God, I loved like my late 20s, my early 30s. Those few years when I was living in downtown
Yeah.
Syracuse, oh, it was amazing.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm in this era right now where I've always been in a relationship.
Hmm.
I'm like a chronic, monogamist, like a serial monogamist, you
Hmm.
could say. And now I'm finally in this era of like, I have my own place, I
Hmm.
have complete autonomy. I am building a business that I love. Like I literally am I'm quite literally like living the dream of
Hmm.
the dreams that I had growing up. Just being this independent woman that wasn't being held back by anything,
Hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm like loving this, I have noticed myself trying to wrap my head around becoming a mother, becoming a wife. And the fact that I really can, it is so easy for me to find so many ways to fill my time up just with myself. Like there's
Hmm.
so much for me to do. And I'm enjoying it so much. And I'm just enjoying having that control and that freedom of like, I can do whatever I want with my time. I can protect my peace. I don't have to absorb people's energy or like take on people's trauma because like that's not my job anymore.
Yeah.
Like this freedom is so incredible that I'm like, now I'm kind of scared of losing it
Mm,
through
I
becoming a
feel
wife,
that.
becoming a mother. And it really like, I think there's a lot of young single women that can relate to this. Like
Yeah.
once you do have independence, I'm still figuring out the financial part. Like
Same. Same.
we're still trying to find ways to make more money and like
Yeah.
feel financially free. But like I know how lucky I am because the women that came before me never got to live their lives the way I live it. And I don't take that for granted for a single second. So now having a taste of this, it really makes a woman think like, what is my purpose in life? And do what do I want? Do I actually want these things? And if I do, can I still protect my peace?
Yeah.
Like, can I still
Can I
have it
have it
all?
all? Yeah.
And it's just like, I know, talking about this with you right now, I feel like you're someone that gets that and
Hmm.
understands that.
Hmm. I do.
And I'm loving the content on social media, like on TikTok particularly, of these women creating these vlogs and being like, I'm challenging myself to be more confident being on my own and like doing more things solo. So I'm gonna take myself on a solo date like once a week. And it's just like a
Hmm.
vlog of their different solo dates that they've taken themselves on.
Hmm.
And I love this. I love going on a solo date. Is there anything you like to do right here in Syracuse that's like the perfect solo date night?
Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't right here in Syracuse, but again, yesterday, the beach. If I can get near the beach or the ocean and I can't really travel too far right now, I'll drive to one of the, not the closest. Southwick is like an hour away, but
Southwick is
it's
beautiful though.
beautiful though.
I've been
That's
telling
why.
myself, I'm like, you got to get back out to
Yeah.
Southwick.
So a beach day by myself with my snacks, just anything near water, I really enjoy. Also going to events alone. I've really
Yeah.
started, meet new people. I see what Syracuse has to offer. So I'll check out what events are going on in downtown Syracuse. And before it used to be like, okay, let me text a friend and see who wants to go with me. Now I just go and I just show up, right? And that not only helps with confidence, but even just like your safety and security and knowing that like you can show up to a place around Syracuse and like you'll be fine, right? And you end up meeting new people. You can also leave when you want to leave because my social battery does die down a little
That's a
bit. So
beautiful
you can
thing.
also head out when you want to. But
I find myself struggling with that. Is like,
okay.
do I go? How do I leave? How do I'm like I love an Irish goodbye, but I know it's not good. How do you leave an event when you're solo?
I tend to try to say goodbye and like make connections or at least like greet the host and thank them. I think that comes from that kind of ties back to just like being a good villager when possible because if I'm going with the intention to kind of like seek out community, then I want to make connections. Because if people come to my event, you're not sneaking out the door. You'll see this. I'm gonna catch you, or I'll just have a prompt for you to at least meet somebody that you haven't met before. There may be like let them know why you came today or if you've ever tried yoga, right? So I try to at least make a connection or give a quick hug or a quick thank you to the people that are there before I head out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
My ideal solo date night is um breakfast for dinner and I'm getting pancakes. And honestly, I'm going to Denny's.
Okay.
Which is like
You're
so
throwing it like
random.
way back. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Denny's. And I like rediscovered my love for Denny's on Christmas Day this past year
Okay.
because like I went and visited a girlfriend whose parents like don't live here, and she usually spends a lot of holidays alone. Usually she comes to my family's house for Thanksgiving, but I was checking on her. She was cleaning. She said, "Come over. I think I'm going to make some pancakes." And I was like, "Heck yeah." Like I love pancakes so much. So I go over her place. She realizes she doesn't have flour. And I was like, "Girl, I'm sorry, but like we're getting pancakes. And the only thing open on Christmas Day is Denny's."
Yeah.
So we went to the Denny's that like I grew up at, that was right down the street from my house in Liverpool, like on 7th North Street. And we're going in there. I get my pancakes. The pancakes are hitting. And I'm just like, I just get overwhelmed with this sense of joy and like nostalgia
Mm-hmm.
and just pure comfort. Like it was healing my inner child for sure.
Yeah.
And I was in good company with someone who like I feel very safe with and just very comfortable with. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just like, it just reignited this newfound love for Denny's and also pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been on like a huge pancake kick since then. Every time I like go and
Do you
go,
tend to like fixate on things too
oh
when you
yeah,
like refine them or you find something new? Yeah.
yes.
I'm
Like
the same.
my hyperfixation is pancakes. So now when I visit like a new place, I'm like, where's the best pancakes in this city or town?
Yeah.
So that's been my new thing. But ever since then, like when I'm like, I really need comfort, I really just want to do something just for me. And I usually keep things pretty dialed in when it comes to like my diet, nutrition, and like very disciplined
Mm-hmm.
there. But I think solo date nights should bring a sense of just like comfort and ease, and like you don't need to be anyone,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, I've taken myself to Eden and have had a fabulous steak and a
Yeah.
bottle of Malbec, and it's like that's been a great solo date night.
Mm-hmm.
But like truly the best ones have been at Denny's.
Yeah. I would say my best ones are at home, enjoying my rent. Like,
Girl, yeah.
like, because we're so busy and so often I'm like, I love to just be at the house.
Yeah.
And it depends on the mood, right? So sometimes it's like those moments in singlehood when you're like, oh man, I wish I could go out to dinner right now. I'd love to get dressed up.
Yeah,
Like I'm
and just
just
get
feeling
treated.
sexy. I'd
Yeah.
love to get treated. And we could do like one or two things right then, right? Like we could feel bad, like I don't have someone to do it, or maybe settle for someone that you don't really want to go out with, but you will. Or you could pour that into yourself. And like those are moments where sometimes I'm like, well, girl, you want to get dressed up and go out, then get dressed up and go
Yeah.
out, you know?
Yeah. And I think the times where I have like decided I'm gonna go out and have a nice meal and sit at the bar, if anything, I'll make good friends with the bartender because I can talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I have also made like great connections sitting at a bar. But I also think that there is so much beauty and intention behind like deciding to stay home,
Mm-hmm.
maybe put on like, you know, some silk pajamas or like something that makes you feel like you're in luxury, or you can
Mm-hmm.
put on a dress, whatever you
Yeah.
want. If I'm home, I'm going to be in PJs.
Yeah. I'm
But I
comfortable.
might be in some silk PJs.
Yeah.
Do some extra skincare, put
Mm-hmm.
on some good music, and like make a meal, but use your finest china.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that that's a beautiful thing, and that's like a lost art.
Yeah. Or
And that's
even
a
just not rush. Like there's no time limit put on it. That's a luxury too. Like to be able to just like take your time, especially for me in the kitchen at least. Not the greatest cook. I'm learning. But like being rushed, it makes it even worse. Like it feels like an actual chore. So sometimes being able to be like, yeah, I'm gonna make myself a meal and I'm just gonna take my time tonight. You know?
Yeah. And I
Mm-hmm.
honestly think that that's why I've been choosing to just like spend my weekends alone by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the rushing thing. Like the
Mm-hmm.
fact that I can wake up on a Saturday and I don't have meetings, and I can work out for as long as I want to work out. I can go get a coffee, pitter around, like get inspired. I
Mm-hmm.
think that that can only happen when you're not being rushed
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah, I agree.
Some of the biggest breakthroughs happen when you finally step away from the noise long enough to hear yourself again. This is Camp Collective, an intimate women's leadership retreat November 13th through the 15th at Vanderkamp in Central New York. Equal parts strategy and restoration, a weekend designed for women who are ready to rest, reflect, reconnect with their vision, and build a real plan to bring it to life. Think community building, connection, and reflection, paired with yoga and breath work, guided workshops on vision casting and execution planning, time spent outdoors on the trails at Vanderkamp, sauna and cold plunge sessions to reset, and of course, bonfires to close out the evenings. Camp Collective is exclusively for members of the CNY Women's Network. And right now, we're offering First Ascent access until July 31st to lock in the lowest rate possible, get priority room selection, and help shape the weekend itinerary before it's finalized. Only 4 spots remain, and access closes July 31st or until spots fill up. Learn more about Camp Collective at cnywomensnetwork.com/camp. And if you have any questions about becoming a member or joining First Ascent, email join@cnywomensnetwork.com to get the conversation going. Step away, come back with clarity. So I want to talk a little bit, since you host so many events and the fact that I also host events, I want to hear like what your philosophy to hosting is, what your non-negotiables to hosting is. Like, how can someone, if they're listening to this right now, how can they be the best host?
Intentionality is everything. I think first, taking it way back, it's knowing your why. We see so many wellness events popping up everywhere, and I think that that's beautiful. And then also, it's not to replace community. A one single event does not equate to community, right? So knowing your why. If you want to throw social events or just pop-up events here and there, and it's not necessarily for people to really, really engage in community, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But it's knowing your why. For me, community, accessibility, and inclusion are huge. And so what comes with that is knowing who this event is for, making sure that it's accessible to them. So whether that be financially, whether that be through how are they able to see it? TikTok, Instagram. I don't want to be on Syracuse Facebook. I love you, Syracuse. I don't want to be on Syracuse Facebook, but I am because I know that is where my community is, right? So it's going where they are, and you can be the host of an event, but it not center you, right? So maybe having different vendors that share similar values, that's important to me. Knowing that the spaces I create primarily focus on Black communities, communities of color, and everyone else who also supports that. That's important. That's a non-negotiable for me. And us being able to connect is a non-negotiable for me. So if it is a yoga event, we're not just coming in, running through our poses and leaving. I will do small intentional things, whether that be going around and like having people ask each other a question or some silly game to connect. The beginning of the class, they'll turn to someone they don't know and they'll share something about themselves. We will dance. Maybe you're nervous, right? There's a DJ there in the beginning and there's people dancing and others are coming up. Those are things that I think that are really important to be intentional about. So knowing your why, knowing who your event is for, and making sure to connect with the people that are there.
Yeah. And I love hearing about like these little moments that you create to drive that connection. I think that that's actually the hardest part. I mean, anyone who says, I'm going to host an event is someone who has a deep desire to bring people together and to connect people, I think. So that's the area of the event that gets missed a lot. I think people focus on the big things, maybe the glamorous things that will look good for social media afterwards.
Yeah.
But if the point is to drive connection, you need to find a way to do that right off the bat. And then also like bookend the event with it. Like, where are we going after this? If the point is to create community, what do we do after this? How do we maintain these connections? I'm reading a new book right now, The Art of Gathering. Have you read it?
I haven't. I've heard of it, but I haven't read it. Yeah.
I think you need to read it.
Yeah.
I think everyone should read it because it really is about gathering, whether it's a family birthday party, a wedding, a meeting, or a summit, a conference. Doesn't matter. There truly is an art to it. And I find that a lot of us are attending meetings that either aren't really necessary or just simply aren't doing what they need to do. And I'm not even halfway through it yet, but I feel like I've learned so much from it so far. And if there's one thing I've learned is that there's the author references Barack Obama
Mhm.
And he says, if everyone's family, no one's family.
Mhm.
And I think one of the biggest pills I've had to swallow in creating the CNY Women's Network is that you really do have to be creating something for someone.
Mhm.
Like you can't be creating a product for everyone, right?
Yeah.
You just have to get crystal clear on who that is. And I think that I've always, ever since I was a little girl, like my biggest fear has been making someone feel left out or feel
Mhm.
rejected or feel like
Mhm.
they don't belong. Like my number one purpose in life is to make people feel like they belong. But when you're building a business or trying to sell a product, you can't sell it to everybody, right?
Yeah.
You have to get clear on who your customer is. So back to your point about like, who is this event for?
Mhm.
Getting crystal clear on that and also not negotiating on that
Mhm.
for fear of like upsetting people or disappointing people or excluding people. This book taught me, like the author posed this really interesting perspective of like inclusivity isn't actually as generous or charitable as you think it is.
Mhm.
It actually can take away from the folks that are supposed to be there if you
Mhm.
try to open the gates and let anybody in,
Mhm.
and you can still create spaces for everyone, but
Mhm.
some spaces are reserved for certain types of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's important. I'll have to check out that book. And I've learned that too, even in my messaging, that when I make it very clear, communities of color, Black communities, that's the center focus. And, everyone who's an ally
Yeah.
around that, right? I've had people say, well, that seems exclusionary. And I just challenge people to look at what our wellness industry looks like, right? Our wellness industry looks largely like one body type, like one race, and those spaces are heavily populated. A lot of community colors and Black communities don't have spaces where they are seen and represented. So it's important that they have that.
Yeah.
I'm not excluding other people, but this is a focus. They deserve that. This is a focus that's really important. And so it's learning too that inclusion sometimes has become just like a buzzword, or people think that inclusion means representation. And so you might go on social media and you'll see one person that may be disabled in the marketing, or you may see one person of color
Yeah.
that is in the marketing and think that that means representation. But representation actually means belonging.
Yeah.
Do the people that I am bringing into this space, no matter who they are, do they feel like they have a belonging there? So in these spaces, when it is a very diverse crowd, it is important to make sure that everyone feels safe and they feel like they belong. That yes, when you look around, they're represented, but they actually feel it. And at Thrive, I'm really intentional about making those connections with everyone in the room, right? And them connecting with one another and building relationships with one another. So they not only have gone to an event, but now they actually feel included and they feel like they belong. They're texting each other. I'm out of it now. And they're texting each other like, hey, are you going to the next event? Or I'll see them on Instagram hanging out, or they're supporting one another through a milestone. That is where like community starts to get built,
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know?
that's so beautiful. Like when that starts happening, that's how you know you did exactly what you set out to do.
Yeah.
Like when you can remove yourself from it and the
Mm-hmm.
community is still thriving, no pun
Mm-hmm.
intended, like that's when you've created a movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as from one fellow community builder to another, congratulations. Like
Same to
that's
you.
the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So, talking about congratulations, you were the recipient of the 2026 Inspiring Woman Award presented by
Yes.
CNY Women's Network.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the first year that we did this award. We're going to be doing it every year moving
Good.
forward, and announcing the winner at the summit. And I mean, to be quite honest, so we had a whole committee that ended up like making that decision, but I did
Mm-hmm.
get a chance to look at the nominations.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw you nominated, like, I mean, I'll be honest, you had the most nominations. There were a few other reasons, criteria
Mm-hmm.
for the recipient. it wasn't necessarily whoever gets the most nominations
Yeah.
wins, right? But I was not surprised in the least bit. I mean, you have such a strong community behind you and such a loyal following.
Mm-hmm.
And um, not just that, but the way you show up and what you do for the Central New York community truly is so beautiful, so positive. Like, you are just clearly a bright light
Mm-hmm.
in this community and people see it. How did that feel when we let you know that you won it? Like, did you expect it at all or?
I knew that people were nominating me, so I was like, okay, maybe we'll see. I felt grateful, really, really grateful. I also felt we had talked about like the visibility before, but I was like, oh my gosh, like I felt it was just such an outpouring of love. So it was a lot to receive because sometimes I like to just like give and you take the spotlight. The
Yeah.
spotlight doesn't need to be on me. Um, but it was a moment where I'm also learning to practice what I preach in terms of receiving. I think that's also a part of being in community is like receiving love as well and receiving help and just receiving in general. So it definitely had me like sitting down and just being in gratitude because it's always nice to hear that the work that you're doing is leaving an impact. You kind of know, right? Because people can tend to tell you here and there and stuff, but it was just like kind of like a physical manifestation of the work that I've done actually, having an impact on everyone's life. So,
Yeah. I mean, the main purpose of the CNY Women's Network is, I mean, we say connections, opportunities, and inspiration for women in Central New
hmm
York. So I knew I wanted to create an award and do like a nomination campaign and do that under the CNY Women's Network. But I was like, what do we call it? Like, what do we call it? There
yeah.
was a few different names that we toyed with, and we ultimately went with the Inspiring Woman Award.
hmm
And I think it's so important for women to inspire and to show up and to be seen, not just so they can attract new opportunities for themselves, but to be an example of what's possible for other women in Central New York. You
hmm
know, like the reason why I started the network is because I was looking for women to look up to. I was looking for mentors that had built something incredible right here. So I could build something incredible right here.
hmm
And just to see like what's the goalpost looking like for me? You know,
Yeah.
what does it mean to you to be an inspiring woman? Like how does a woman show up and inspire others?
Authenticity. I think showing up exactly how you are, even if you don't fully feel confident and ready, it's almost effortless in a sense of like all of us have a story, all of us have a gift, and we may not exactly know what that is yet, but being vulnerable with a mix of discernment on what we want to share can inspire so many other people, even if it's just one person. And so I think that it's living out your truth, living it out loud is something that I know has inspired so many people. And it's great that it's in, you say like following and all that. It's great that's inspired many people, but knowing that even if you just inspire one and it's offline, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've had those moments where you end up at a coffee shop and you have a conversation with someone and they just inspired you just by being themselves or sharing a part of themselves. That's being an inspirational woman, uplifting other women, not tearing each other down, respecting the other people that may be in the same field as you. Doesn't mean you have to be the closest, the best friends. Doesn't mean you have to fully agree on everything. But I think just living in integrity is something that's really inspiring too.
Yeah,
hmm
heavy on that too is
hmm
like above all else inspiring people to lead their lives in integrity
Yeah.
and with character.
hmm
So you recently wrote a book
Yes.
called A Life Imagined.
Yes.
Tell me why you decided to write a book
hmm
and if someone decides to read it, what they're going to walk away with.
It was something that I think has been in the making since I was a kid. Since I went through my autoimmune journey and my infertility journey, I knew that it was something that I wanted to share and talk about. And over the years, it's transitioned from wanting to just talk about infertility to also learning that grief shows up in so many other ways other than like physical ability or like the physical loss of someone. And grief has shaped my life heavily, as with many of us. And not just physical loss of like my father or ability to have kids, but I've noticed just life transitions. And over the years working with people, I've seen that so many of us are grieving and we don't have the language for it because we relate grieving to death. I went on my sabbatical almost like a year and a half ago down to Nevada, and I started to just write for a few months, and just kind of wanted to share a little bit of what ambiguous grief looks like and give people that language. So the book is about both and of becoming, and it has chapters that talk about maybe you were the football star and that was like your full identity. I know we all know somebody maybe like that was the athlete and didn't make it to the league. And now what is my life supposed to look like? There's grief there. And then there's also hope of like what's going to be next. There's a chapter that talks about the loss of certain physical abilities, which was inspired by my dad's journey through Parkinson's. So to see him be someone that like taught me how to stack wood and mow the lawn, and like he raised me and my sister like boys, to see him not be able to do those things anymore, and to watch the grief of still living but not being able to live in the way he wanted to. And there's so many different chapters that just put language to these things like, hey, I thought this was going to be a lifelong friend. I thought like we were locked in and like this was going to be someone at my wedding, and grieving that, and also really enjoying the new people in my life, or the possibilities of what are going to happen next. So that's what inspired it. I'm excited to expand it. It's just a brief, short little synopsis, but it's something that everybody can relate to because we're all learning how to grieve, and most importantly, how to like enjoy the life that we have ahead of us too.
Yeah. I
hmm
think grief is a really powerful topic that I've recently been very drawn to.
hmm
There's a book that I was referred to that I'm really interested in reading. I did get a chance to read your book, and I
hmm
thought it was absolutely beautiful. When I had reached out to you and just congratulated you on publishing it, we hadn't talked in a while, but it almost reminded me of like why I appreciate you so much, because you do have this beautiful and very like wise way for someone your age of
It's the
looking.
menopause.
Is that it?
I don't know, maybe.
Menopause
It was the
equals
menopause.
wisdom.
Yeah, at a young age.
Yeah, there's just not many people that are able to see the good in things
hmm
and to like turn such tragic, heartbreaking situations into positive ones, and also to like use their energy to make the world a better place for other
hmm
people. You
hmm
know what I mean? And so I'm really glad you wrote it. So you wrote this while you were on sabbatical. Did you
hmm
finish it while you were on sabbatical?
I didn't. Finished it when I got home. Finished most of the memoir part while I was on sabbatical. And then I was like, for whatever reason, I'm like, I don't want this book to necessarily just be about me, the little chapters that share about me. I want it to be able to relate to all
Yeah.
different types of grief. So when I got home, I added in just some somatic exercises people can do. I added a little bit of storytelling in there. And I gave myself a deadline to get this done by my birthday, February 2nd of this past year. I had a deadline years ago, and it's not complete. It's not complete. I know it's not, but I wanted it out by my birthday. Something was telling me, like, just get it out. It doesn't have to be perfect. You have a lot to say, and it's time. It's time to get it out. And when it gets published, when I get a publisher, because that will happen, and there will be an expanded version and all of that, that time will come. But it was time to share. And I think that that's another important message is sometimes we want it has to be perfect before we put our art out there, whatever that art is. And if you have a calling on your heart to share something, get it out. You can always refine and go back later. It doesn't always have to be perfect, especially when we are sharing something that you know is going to help someone else or inspire them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that. And that's a message that I preach a lot, is
Mhm.
like it's never going to feel complete because it's not supposed to.
Mhm.
Like that's the beautiful part of being a creator, is
Yeah.
that you have the opportunity to create every single day if you want. And
Yeah.
just the most important thing is putting this stuff out in the world so other people can benefit. I mean, it's truly an act of service.
Mhm.
It's not just simply an act of self-expression, also, although that is self-expression is a very important part of living a happy life.
Mhm.
But I view putting out the book by your birthday because you want something to celebrate, but you also want to get out this thing
Mhm.
that you've been thinking about for years. I
Yeah.
think that that is a celebration, but at the same time, an act of service. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure it was not easy to get this done.
Yeah.
It's never easy to sit your butt down and do something you're not getting paid to do.
And the ADHD and writing, like, it's like, that's why I was like, I can't wait till I have like an editor and a publisher to write the extended version because that'll be so helpful. Because I
Yeah.
kind of just want to ramble on and have somebody help me put it into
Yeah,
something that
I'm
makes sense.
sure. Well, that's why
Um,
I asked you. I'm like, what I'm really curious about the actual process of it. I
yeah.
mean, I would love to write a book someday. I've always felt like that's going to be a part of my journey and
Hmm.
something I would love to do. I recently I'm still working on developing a writing practice, but I just kind of started digging into that and like
Yeah.
trying to make writing a more consistent part of my life. And it's when I do it,
Hmm.
it really is so cathartic and like
Hmm.
healing for me. Writing the memoir portion, what was that experience like? Was it emotional? I've heard people talk about like that being a huge journey in and of itself.
Yeah. It was emotional. It brought up quite a bit in wanting to protect people, right? So when we're talking about maybe our parents,
Yeah.
that again, the both and love them so much, miss my father, love my mother, all of that. And there are things that impacted who I am now that happened when I was younger. How much do I share in this book?
Yeah.
How much do I put in here? I don't want to live in grief, right? And that's something that I'm learning is grief is a huge part of my story, but living is even bigger than it. I want that to be the message too. So as I'm writing, I was like, okay, I don't want to ramble on about the experience of grief of not being able to have kids because right now I'm also loving being single and childless. Never thought I'd get there. But as you write it, it's kind of like journaling. You find that things out about yourself. Originally, sitting down writing the chapter about when I found out that I had infertility and wouldn't have children, I was sad at first. And then as I'm writing, I'm noticing again, like, I don't really feel this way anymore. And that's a change. That's a change in identity. Like that,
Yeah.
that part of my story has shaped so much of what I do. But it also allowed me to see, oh, okay, a life imagined. And I now can see so many other different things for myself. And part of the healing process was like, oh, I don't love the term everything happens for a reason, but I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't be sitting here talking about this. I wouldn't have the experiences that I've had. So I recommend anyone document parts of your life, whether that be a voice memo, your note section. Know that writing a book, it sounds huge, right? It sounds almost maybe to some people impossible. Nothing is impossible. I'd self-published through, they're taking a lot of royalties. So, but I self-published through Amazon, KDB
Yeah.
Publishing. That the process wasn't that difficult. And even if you don't put the work out there, I think that allows you to really become a lot more self-aware.
Heavy on the document your life. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I just got really into reading autobiographies, particularly on like entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep thinking to myself, gosh, I really need to like journal more and just like keep
Mm-hmm.
track of what am I doing day to day? Like, what are the experiences I'm having? I think it's one thing to journal on paper because that's obviously healing in and of itself. There's something about pen to paper, but
Mm-hmm.
like in the digital world, like if I were to write a book one day or if someone were to write an autobiography, I'm not saying I'm going to be worthy of that, but like
Why not?
I better have some darn like proof
Yeah.
of not just like what I've done, quote unquote, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like what are my innermost thoughts day
Mm-hmm.
to day as I'm navigating
Mm-hmm.
all these things.
It allows you to become so much more present too. Life is so fast moving. And I'm always preaching to people like, did you stop and celebrate? Like, did you take a moment to take in what you just did?
Yeah.
Like, because many people don't. And I have to preach that to myself sometimes, because to other people, they're like, oh my God, this is amazing what you just did. And to us, we're like, nope, that my
Hmm.
mountain's up there. This was amazing, yes, but I've got to get to the next thing. And over the years, life has just really taught me that it is so incredibly, incredibly short. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I think it's important to get out what you can today. And when you sit down with yourself and you just take a pause, whether that be, you don't even have to write anything down. You just reflect on your day. Think about it. What did I do today? What did I get done? How do I feel about it? If you sit down and write it, if you pull out your camera and take a little video of yourself that you can look back on later, I think that's important. It will help you if you want to write an autobiography or a memoir, but it'll also help you to just actually, again, like get to know yourself a little bit better and have gratitude for the journey too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's beautiful. Back to your point around like people celebrating you and you being in this place of thinking ahead. And I posted something a couple weeks ago just reflecting on humility and like,
Hmm.
what does humility really mean? And it's because I know there's a lot of people in my life that I've seen people do it. I see people do it all the time at our events. Not being able to take a compliment, not being able to say thank you when someone congratulates them on an accomplishment, diverting the conversation when someone's clearly really impressed by them and is just wants to praise them when they're receiving praise. And I think that like I know why people do it. It's because they don't think they deserve it, right? I mean,
Hmm.
we've all done this before because we're all just good people trying to be
Hmm.
good, honest people that uh and we've also been taught that this praise or receiving is wrong, and if we were to accept it, it would make us arrogant or vain
Hmm.
or cocky or whatever. But I
Hmm.
honestly think like if someone is expressing their love and admiration to you, 9 times out of 10, it's not because they're doing it because they think they should or because they think it'll get them somewhere. Like
Hmm.
that is like one of the purest forms of love. Like that
Yeah.
is true love being poured.
Hmm.
So for you to not accept it and to not receive it and
Hmm.
even and sometimes refuse it,
Hmm.
I think that is actually can be such a slap in the face
Hmm.
to the person that's trying to give you love.
Yeah.
And I think humility isn't that at all. Like that humility is the opposite of that. I think to be humble is to be open. To
Hmm.
be humble is to be honest.
Hmm.
And if you're being open and honest, then let people love you.
Yeah.
Like literally let people celebrate you.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I just think that we live in this era of like obviously social media and the digital space and everyone has their opinions about it.
Hmm.
And I've gotten a lot better about it as I've shown up and have shown up in a way that's definitely more consistent and plentiful but also more authentic and
Yes.
honest. I still feel like, oh my gosh, I posted yesterday. People are going to get sick of me. People don't want to see this. People are going to think I'm full of myself.
Mm,
But then there's always the people that are like, thank you for posting
yeah.
this.
And it can even be, again, that one person. And it's like, okay, this is why I'm doing this, right? Doing it for myself too, to share my journey, but also knowing that, okay, it is reaching someone. And sometimes you won't hear from anyone and you just keep sharing. If it's on your heart to do that, then do it, you
Yeah,
know? Hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Lisa, what is on your heart right now? Like, where are you headed? What's next for you?
Where am I headed right now? I'm just heavily in presence right now. Continuing to build what we've been building in terms of some of the goals that I have. I would love to travel. I haven't traveled very much in the last few years. So personally, I would like to just see some of this world. I've applied on Yoga Trade to actually go and like teach yoga at it's kind of similar to like a residency, right?
Yeah.
They pay for you to stay and teach yoga. Yeah, I have a lot of business goals, but they will come. I think right now is just being present and kind of enjoying some of my life, which I haven't done in the last few years.
Yeah.
So,
You've
yeah.
been working, you've been growing. I get
Yeah.
it. You're Lululemon Ambassador for what, the second time?
Yes, his second year Lululemon Ambassador. So
Yeah.
that was really exciting. I was really grateful for that. And I think it ties back to accepting love. Still something like I'm working through of like accepting the congratulations, accepting that people see the work that's being done and they want to support it. And to be an ambassador over the last few years has been wonderful because they are so, so supportive. Emily Nichols over at Lululemon, our local store, she's amazing. She truly cares about the community and the work that we do. And it's been beautiful to be able to sit down and say, hey, this is what I care about. And then be like, whatever you say, we got you, because we know that it's valuable. So it's been nice to receive that over the last few years.
So if someone's listening to this conversation, and I won't be surprised, but if they're absolutely obsessed with you, if they want to get connected, they want to follow along in what you're doing, where can they find you?
ThriveandHealing.com. It's really Thrive and Healing on all platforms. My personal brand is Thrive with Lisa Marie on Instagram. And then Thrive and Healing on TikTok, Facebook, and also on Instagram as well. My book is up on A Life Imagined is up on Amazon. And I'll be at some community event like almost every weekend. There'll be an event. So you'll see me around the community as well at different events too.
Yeah, you will see Lisa. Unless she's traveling.
Unless I'm traveling.
Which I'm sure you're going to be traveling. Manifest it, girl. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'll be sure to leave a link to your book in the show notes and all of your channels so they can find you. And if you don't know Lisa's story and you want to hear it from her mouth, go back and listen to her first episode on Cultivate. We'll also link that in the show notes so people can go back to that if they want. But other than that, thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, Alex.
All right, guys, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to Cultivate CNY. If you enjoyed this conversation, I'd love it if you left us a quick review and made sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And if something in today's discussion resonated with you, please share it, whether it's on social media or directly with a friend. You never know how hearing this conversation might be exactly what someone needs right now. And I love to hear your feedback. I love to hear your thoughts. So please be sure to tag us on social media if you do share there.